Incredibly Strange Game Show. With me today is Frank Cifaldi from Lost Levels and Brandon Sheffield of, I don't know, Brandon, can I say what you're doing right now, or what can I say?
Well, I probably shouldn't because I can't be actually sure that all the things are going to happen. But I can speak in the general sense and say that I'm definitely working on a game where you are trying to hit or avoid as many deer on the road as possible, and that's still moving forward. And it's called Oh Deer.
So you're just trying to hit like an absolute value of deer, like you can hit a lot or you can hit none, and that's how you get a high score?
Yes, it's like as many or as few, but I don't think it's not going to be possible to hit none. You're going to have to hit some of them, just as few as possible. But the way to make it more interesting is that, like, the slower you could theoretically ruin the game for yourself by just going super slow, but since it's number of deer missed, the faster you go, the more deer you can miss. So you could go slow and not hit very many deer, but you won't have missed as many deer as other players could have missed if they went faster.
So there's a preset time limit?
Yeah, it's five minutes straight. It's a game that's 5 miles, and no matter how fast or slow you go, each mile lasts a minute, and that's it.
Right on. So if you're on iPhone, are you worried about the inevitable clones, like, O Caribou or Zoe Deer, that kind of thing?
Well, I think my solution there is to just, I have the idea for Oh Deer 2 already in mind, and so I'll just kind of move past it and evolve while others imitate.
I think the other solution is to make a game that I don't think anyone would ever really want to clone.
Yep. Can do. Good times.
Right on. Cool. So, Frank, what are you doing these days outside of Lost Levels?
I am just kind of working for Kama Sutra right now.
Is there any truth to the rumors about the Lost Levels coffee table book?
Man, those rumors are at least 7 years old at this point. And
they're persistent. They don't go away.
Yeah. They're as true now as they were back then, those rumors. Let's put it that way.
So we can keep hoping.
Actually what I want to do, I can talk about this just for a second. I want to turn it more into one of those websites that you kind of forget exists, except for one time a year, and then you rediscover it, spend like 3 hours on it at work, and then go, that was nice, move on with your life. I kind of want to just be this giant repository of video games that never happened, and I think I need to find a really smart person who can build a database for me and make that happen.
So, Frank, one question I've always kind of wondered this about Lost Levels, is has there ever been a game that appeared on Lost Levels and then later it got released?
No.
Well, you have done things where, or maybe not. I mean, haven't there been instances where people have, kind of soft/fake released them, such as older games and stuff?
Yeah, nothing has legally come out from stuff that we've sort of saved and put on Lost Levels, but it's kind of a popular thing now to do a run of bootleg versions of games that never came out and call them a release. And a lot of the stuff that I've personally lost thousands of dollars to is being sold at a profit by other people. Yeah.
Yay!
Hooray!
I'm pretty happy about that. One guy felt guilty and gave me one, so that was nice. It is now its own little micro industry.
Like what platforms?
Oh, almost entirely NES. I sort of have a bias toward that system, but it's more just my completionist nature that has made me focus on that over the years more than anything else. Once I kind of started on that, it just kind of became a thing. For the most part, both the highest quantity of unreleased games that are available and also the highest quantity of bootleg manufacturers tends to be the NES.
Cool.
Yeah.
It is cool. You can even get Bioforce Ape on a cartridge now.
Yeah, that one I was really pissed about because when I put it out, what I said to the sort of community hub that tends to do these things the most is, I don't mind if you sell this, but you should donate the money to charity. And people are just selling it anyway.
What a nice group of young men.
Yeah. So it makes me really eager to continue doing what I'm doing and saving video game history.
Yay!
Yay! All the positives.
I guess that's how people become, like the crazy, like you get the 2600 dudes who like hoard the prototypes, like won't release them, will like do some sort of like proof of life 10-second YouTube video and then like not release the ROM to the community.
Yeah, good luck. Charlie Brown's one of those.
Yeah, people are not great about that sort of thing.
I think I'd rather have the bootleg guys than the hoarder guys, though.
Yeah, me too, because you don't want like some bit rot to just completely take a game out of existence.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish there were more people that wanted to do that sort of stuff for the PC Engine, but they're just... Japan is not very good about preserving its history at all.
Oh my god. We did some games where, really high-profile games, I mean, so when I worked someplace else, and we were like, is there source code? And they're like, no. And they're like, oh, Mr. So-and-so found a printout of the source code in his office. And they just sent us, like, a printout of the source code with all the comments in Japanese.
There you
And
go.
it wasn't even like, but even then, like even now, when they understand, like, oh, maybe these things are valuable, they didn't like photocopy it and send us a photocopy or like fax it to us or some other thing. Like they just like boom threw it in an envelope and sent it to us, like the original dot matrix printout of the famous old game.
Man,
That's amazing.
that's pretty ridiculous.
Actually, I do have an incredibly strange story related to the Lost Level stuff we were just talking about. And it's related to the hoarding collectors too. There's a secret circle in Japan. I guess it's also related to Japanese preserving their history, which we were also talking about. It's tying everything together, basically.
Hooray!
It's going to be the greatest story. There's a secret inner circle in Japan that's like the anti-Lost Levels. They find unreleased, mostly Famicom games. They'll buy the only copy of it when it comes up, and they will make cartridges for each other, and they'll all be watermarked so that if any one of them leaks the ROM, they'll know who betrayed the inner circle. We've heard rumors about these guys for years, but we finally had a run-in with them. And,
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
And then
amazing.
assuming, obviously, if you let one of these games leak, you're out of the inner circle.
Right, we are not in the inner circle. In fact, they are well aware of who we are, and they intentionally try to outbid us on stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's this weird situation.
So now I want there to be an even more secret group in Europe where they buy like unreleased games, and instead of trading them with each other, they just destroy them immediately.
Yeah, that would be the only way to complete this triangle. It's true. But the reason we ran into them is because I don't know, Chris, if you're aware of a strange game on the NES called Monster Party. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of a parody horror game about a kid with a baseball bat, like beating up like the plant from Little Shop of Horrors and stuff.
Nice.
It's got a cult following. It's a cool game. The Japanese version, which is the original, never came out, and it's kind of like the director's cut version of it. There's a lot of content that we didn't get. It's kind of one of those lost gems in Japan. So one of them came up on Yahoo. We lost the auction. We didn't quite get it, and it came up again a few months later, and we bid on it, and it was a fake. It was a fake from the guy who bought it, and that's how we got introduced to the inner circle. Was from confronting him about this fake prototype that he sold us. And
Wait, so he sold like a duplicate prototype? Or...
yeah, he kept the real one. Yeah, he kept the real one, and he like faked the label, like the typewritten label from his prototype, and made a new one, and sold it to us. But there's like EPROMs inside that are dated 2008.
Oh, right.
It's like a really obvious fake. So our guy in Japan kind of confronted him about it. They met in a cafe, and he pulled out his PSP and showed him ROMs of like every unreleased game that we had ever seen on Yahoo Japan that we missed out on, and kind of informed him about the circle. So we gotta take them down, or I don't know what we need to do with these guys. But I'm kind of glad they exist in a way. It makes my life a little more interesting.
That's sort of cool. One thing I got at some Bay Area thing one time, just randomly, was a giant sticker sheet of 2600 labels from Atari that just said rejected in white on red, and they were for like, I guess presumably test ROMs that got rejected.
Oh man.
And, so I don't even know if I still have them, but for years I did like the idea of doing like a fake, non-existent 2600 prototype.
Like do you remember the story of that fake Pitfall 3?
No.
Yeah, this is funny. This is like in the late 90s. There were these two collectors in the same area. I don't remember what area it was. This was like back in the news group days. And one of them made a fake Pitfall 3 prototype by putting basically a broken ROM on a cartridge. And I think he said he put pennies in the cartridge to make it heavier. and he made a fake, internal Atari Pitfall 3 label. I don't think it even said Activision. I think it said internal Atari. Like, he made it kind of fake on purpose, and he slipped it into a thrift store that he knew another collector bought stuff at.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he found it. The guy found it. He started posting on news groups about it. He was really excited. Like, he opened it up, and he's like, there's a penny in here from 1995. That's kind of weird.
I know, like, for me, like, I'm so excited about this stuff that, like, you just want to believe so much that, like, you can get around anything, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, so I found these prototypes at this magazine I used to work for years ago, like 2600 prototypes. At the time, I didn't even have a 2600. They were just like blank cartridges that said like "Return to Atari," and I was like, for years, I was like, I don't know what's on them, but it's something awesome. It's something awesome. And like, unfortunately, what was on them were like review copies of like Joust or something. Like, it wasn't awesome at all. But I was so excited about them that, like, it could have been like the most fake thing ever. Like, it could have been like a Genesis ROM in it, and somehow in my head I would have been like, I don't know how they did that, but like.
No, it's true, and that's the way that guy was. He's like, and he's basically, I mean, he was a really nice guy too. He's like, I don't think this works, but if anyone legitimately thinks they can take a look at this, you can have it.
Yeah, it's bad. I think I'll probably edit this out, but I once played a really awful practical joke on where I had for some reason I had a phone, like, temporarily with a 510 number that he didn't know, and I started texting him, saying, like, and gave me your info, and do you collect the old games, or are you the Carnival Mirror guy? And he was like, both! And I just, like, every couple hours I just sent him an email, and, like, it's pretty easy to bait the hook, right? And just, well, I got these old arcade boards. I don't know what's on them. I think they're just like the test boards where the game didn't work out, so they just put them in a box. And like, I don't know if you want those or and like, and I just kept spinning it up to the point where like I was like, yeah, and then I was like, you want these Carnival mirrors? And he's like, yeah, I'll take everything. He's like, and I was like, I got an old Badger, like one of those stuffed ones, but like, one of the legs is wet. I'm not sure. And then, I eventually, like, spun it up to where it's like, well, the cat's been back there, so there might be some fecal material. It's like, oh, that's no problem, I can wash that off. And then, like, it just got worse and worse, and then, like, I just started to feel bad, because then started texting me, like, my regular number, saying, like, this is crazy collector, you have to come with me. And then I was like, now the joke's gone too far, and I've ruined everything.
If you want to hear a story that is way, way less interesting,
yes.
Yeah. Yesterday when we were at 4J's, I was looking at games on the Genesis rack, and there was a dude standing next to me who wound up being the Gaijin Games guy. And so I was just browsing through things and saying names out loud, and I was like, Rolling Thunder 3, And then the guy next to me is like, Rolling Thunder 3? Like, that's what I said, because we didn't realize there was one. But and I found it a little odd that neither of us would know it existed. And it's not like it's a super rare thing, but it is a Namco-made third part of a series that was only released in North America.
Oh, nice.
Rolling Thunder 1 and 2 came out here, but Rolling Thunder 3, in Japan, but Rolling Thunder 3 was North American only for some reason. And so that was a bit curious, and there we go. Now I have it. The end.
That's awesome. Hey, so tell me, do you guys want to take turns and just tell a couple funny strange game anecdotes?
Not on the spot like that. I can't think.
It sounds a little difficult.
There must be a game you like which is weird.
Yes.
Okay.
There certainly is.
So just talk about it.
I guess we gotta think then.
It's not really an anecdote as much as a brief product review, I guess. Right?
Exactly.
Okay. I can talk about the one I always talk about.
Which is what?
Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. one of my legitimately favorite games. It's very weird. It's called Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures. I don't know why Namco America thought that this was the game that was finally the true sequel to Pac-Man, but I think it kind of threw some people off. It wasn't a maze game. It was, in fact, kind of an adventure game where Pac-Man, sort of crossbow style, was just kind of wandering about on his own, and you were sort of the omniscient, like, god being with a slingshot in the background.
Like you have.
Yeah. If you're God, you have a giant slingshot, and you could hit people. And basically, Pac-Man, the game starts, and level 1's like, oh, we're out of milk for the baby. Can you go get milk, Pac-Man? He's like, okay. And he goes out, and he's just on his own. He's just walking, and, if he sees something interesting, he'll go look at it. If he sees something he's scared of, he might turn away. And the way you win the game is to shoot the environment, shoot him sometimes. Like, sometimes you have to piss him off. But basically, you're manipulating his emotions to get him through his day. So, he'll walk, and, he'll be too scared to go past this farm because that farmer is going to yell at him. So, you could either, shoot a beehive and have it land on the farmer and have him get upset, or you could piss Pac-Man off so much that he becomes smug enough that he walks past him. Sometimes you have to get him so sad that he'll walk slow and things won't hit him. Like, you were just manipulating him all day with a slingshot in order to make him, get some milk for his kid or pick flowers for his neighbor. And it's really weird. It's some of the best, I think, acting in a sprite game I've ever seen. Pac-Man, you always know what he's thinking, and he's really animated just perfectly, and I love that about him. And he kind of sounds like a mixture between Simlish and a cat, which is a really good voice for Pac-Man. And I love this game, and about 3 other people do. So we're all friends.
I bought the game recently. I think I actually bought the game the last time I was at 4J's, but I only played it for 2 seconds, and then I moved.
I think you kind of have to have someone like me play it for you in order.
No, I want to play it. I want to play through it. I like it because it looks a lot like Pac-Land. Like, it's got that whole,
yeah,
Pac-Land vibe, and I like it because it just kind of I don't know, it evokes an alternate path of history that never happened, where
no, totally, yeah.
That's where Pac-Man went. Pac-Man went side view, adventure game, slice of life type of thing.
Yeah, I like it for that reason too. He doesn't have the hat though.
Yeah.
I don't really have very many good things here that I can call to mind.
I can suggest something for you.
Okay.
I think this is a good venue for talking about Bloody Checkers.
Oh, that's true. I do like Bloody Checkers. First I was going to talk about one briefly. It's not that strange, but people don't really know about it. There's a game called Ant-Man 2. And it's a Korean run and gun that was very much styled after Gunstar Heroes. And the first Ant-Man wasn't that good, but Ant-Man 2 really went all out. And it was directed by the guy that went on to make the Ragnarok Online series. But it's just one of those obscure games that is really hard to find, was only out on Windows 95, and only for sale in Korea. But it's pretty good. It's a decent, if not that strange game. But yeah, there's this Xbox Live indie game called Bloody Checkers, where you are, you're some kind of knight or something that is dropped into this castle for some reason. And it's a first-person dungeon crawler where you've got a candle that you've got to protect, because otherwise you can't see your way around and you can't fight any battles. But you're going around fighting the dead residents of the castle, who you get to through looking at their portraits and seeing how they died, and then you play checkers against them. And you can set up traps, and there's blood everywhere and bees flying into the screen to distract you, and it's just a really strange game that's very true to its universe, where you've got a skeleton companion at some point who will wander around and find items for you, or tell you where to get things, or help you get through the catacombs and stuff. And then there are things like a giant pit that you can go into that has these crazy items in it that you really want to be able to get, but you can't, once you get into the pit, you can't escape from it until you have some certain item from way later in the game. And so if you just hit the hint button, it says, there's nice stuff here, but you can't get it right now. Time to restart. And the guy that makes this game, he's done 4 major updates for it that add wings to the castle and NPCs and new items and like a bartering system, and also while you're wandering around, there's a lobby that stays open where you can just, if you leave it open, anybody else that's playing can challenge you, and then you can play checkers against them and win some money or lose some. Well, you don't lose any, and then you go right back into your game after you win or lose.
And every battle that you have as an enemy is checkers?
It's only checkers. It's the only way.
So good. Did you ever play that tennis RPG for TurboGrafx?
Yes. There's also a racing RPG from the same people.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah, it's I mean, it was just like a kind of a very standard arcadey tennis game, and the racing is the same way, that they just added a quest mode too, because that's just what you did in Japan in like 1989. And I love them for that. Actually, one of our Lost Levels games was a version of Hit the Ice. You know that Taito game? No, it was the exact same thing. They added an RPG mode to Hit the Ice. So you run around from your, you walk on an overhead map from your stadium around a map, and then have random hockey encounters on your way to become the best team in the world.
See, I want that to come back because, like, I mean, this checkers game sounds good. I'm gonna go get this in like 5 minutes. Like, I like RPGs, but like turn-based RPG combat or like managing inventory and blah blah, like spell upgrades are like totally lame. If I could play Skyrim and every fight was checkers, like I would be extremely happy.
I agree with you. I've often lamented for the brief but beautiful time in video games where they just added RPG elements to everything for no reason. That is probably my favorite era of video games. I really want that to come back.
Yeah, well, now with Bloody Checkers.
Yeah, now it's back.
It's cool. Yeah, XBLIG just has some amazing, amazing games in it.
I was going to say that I feel like that RPG-ification of everything has come back. Like, there are stats and upgrade trees in, like, everything. Like, you know, you could even say that a game like Infamous has RPG elements in it because you choose what paths, when you're upgrading your superpowers and things like that. I think it's just being done in a more subtle way than
more subtle and natural way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's too natural. Maybe it should be a little more shoehorned.
Yeah, I have no desire for subtlety.
Yeah.
Like, I want to play a bowling game. Like I loved, bowling and Wii Sports. I want to play a bowling game where like you get to the end of the game and I'm bowling against the devil to like save humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of thing.
You want to play a video game.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, crap, guys, I hate to be a killjoy, but we are running out of tape, and we pay by the inch for this, so we should probably stop.
Yeah, so you should wrap it up really quick, Chris. That's what they do on podcasts at the end.
Crap, I've never ended a podcast before. I don't even know how to do it.
Well, you got to be like, yeah, thanks for tuning, that sort of thing.
Okay, thanks for tuning in. My audio didn't record during this part, so I guess I'll just say goodbye, and thanks to everybody. I'm dubbing this in later, and Frank, why don't you laugh a little bit and then say thanks for being here. Brandon, you too.
Well, thank you, Chris. It was a pleasure to be here.
Yes, I'm always happy to be on any kind of thing that very few people will hear.